What's up, guys? It's Monty checking in with Nerd Era, where nerd culture reigns supreme. As you can see, I am wearing my Flash shirt. That means it is time for your weekly Flash check-in. Now, I know this was supposed to be up yesterday on October 22nd of 2014, the day after episode 3 of Flash aired, Things You Can't Outrun. But I was having a little trouble with my internet service yesterday, so I apologize for the delay on putting up this review. What can I say about this episode, man? Flash continues to be an extraordinarily strong show, like following the tradition of Arrow, where it seems to be that, at least as far as the CW goes and the showrunners of all the CW DC properties, they're taking these properties very seriously. So a little plot synopsis on this week's episode. We're dealing with a character named Kyle Nimbus, whom Cisco dubs the Mist. And what it was is that he was on death row. He was set to be executed the night that the particle accelerator blew up. And because of that, he gained the ability to turn into the deadly cyanide gas that they use to kill and execute prisoners on death row. And he went on a vengeance quest to kill those who he felt were responsible for his death. So that was the villain that the Flash was up against and had to defeat. A couple of things they did in this episode. They turned the particle accelerator, the destroyed particle accelerator, into a prison for metahumans. So that's interesting to show that they're starting to think about long term how they're going to deal with the metahuman threat. Because the first 2 episodes, both metahumans that Flash went up against died. Not to his failure, like, he didn't kill them, but they did wind up dying. But now they're showing that Flash doesn't want to kill the metahumans, and he's thinking long terms of how he's going to deal with this problem. Again, the character dynamic between Detective Joe West and Barry remains strong. Joe went to go talk to Barry's father to confess his guilt and how he felt bad, knowing now that the father was not guilty for the murder of Barry's mother. Now he's made the vow to clear his name and get him out of prison. So it dealt with a lot of that. It's still dealing with a lot of that story arc. The past coming back to haunt them and the guilt of Barry's father being locked away even though he didn't commit the crime. It's very, very strong writing and very, very strong character dynamic. I saw a comment on one of the forums I go to discuss this show, and I thought it was very intriguing. That someone mentioned that Guy Gustin, who plays Barry Allen, has played the best Peter Parker that they've ever seen on screen. And I thought that was an amazing analogy. I thought it was great because it goes to show that the way that Guy Gustin is playing Barry Allen, he actually would have made a great Peter Parker in a Spider-Man movie. And might I mention at this point now that I think it's awesome that the guy's name is Guy Gustin, going back to the whole comic book tradition of having the secret identities of characters having literary names, like, Peter Parker, Bruce Banner, Clark Kent. There's that whole alliteration thing. So I think that's awesome. It's very meta in its comic booky nerdiness. But yeah, it was a very strong episode. I like as usual the Harrison Wells story arc. They're very strongly leaning on the possibility that he is Eobard Thawne from the future, the Professor Zoom, aka the Reverse Flash. They're kind of, and they're not just waiting to the end of the show now to drop those hints. They're working it into the central plot line of each episode. So I think it's very intriguing that they're going with that, and I'm very excited to see where the show is going as for the future. Like, for instance, next week's episode seems to be that they're going to be introducing Captain Cold, which I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, a very strong episode. A lot of heavy themes being explored. I'm digging this show so far. So, that's my thoughts. Tune in next week when I'll be reviewing the Captain Cold episode. See Monty. Make sure you subscribe to see what I think about next week's episode. Let us know what you think about this week's episode in the comments. See Monty, Nerd Era, Nerd Culture reigns supreme. See you next week.